but
I just
there
hit
we go.
record, Lori.
Okay, thank you. So let me introduce Stacy. Stacy Whitaker Harris is a minister of the gospel, an author, a poet, a vocalist, inspirational speaker, mental, physical, and spiritual health and wellness advocate and coach, a steward of children, and a peace pusher who advocates for social justice and equality. Stacy holds a master's in law, business, and a bachelor's in nonprofit management. She's certified as a recovery and peer support specialist, and additionally believes in full wellness coupled with continued learning. She's acquired therapeutic art, self-healing, and mindfulness life coach certifications. As a creative and empathic person, she provides compassionate assistance to the community, serving as a behavioral health technician with lived experience. Stacy loves all things art and often uses canvas to paint away the pain and discomfort and reconnect with her heart to recognize her soul. She serves her community with compassion, resilience, and faith. Last but not least, she is a loving mother of 3 young adults whom she cherishes as jewels and a fur baby that she adores. So that's quite a resume there.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Stacy.
Absolutely. Thank you all. I wasn't sure if you were going to read that, so I'm glad I didn't have that in my introduction here. First and foremost, I just want to say great morning to everyone, to you all. Again, my name is Stacy Whitaker Harris, and I just want to celebrate your presence today and thank you all, as well as the Arizona Peer and Family Coalition's leadership for the opportunity to present today on Mental Health Monday.
Stacy, we are not seeing your face.
Okay,
Your camera appears to be off.
Let me change the view.
Can others see her face? I can see her face.
You can? I can't.
She's on there
Lori,
twice. When
Okay.
Stacy J,
So
you can't see her face,
apologize.
but this Stacy Whitaker, you can.
There it is. Thank you.
So you're gonna get to see my face twice, and hopefully,
No, that's
hopefully,
okay. That's
because
okay. We do see you. We do
I'm
see
using
you
one
there.
device for face and one device for voice because that's where the presentation is. Unfortunately, I don't have the great things to be able to do both of them in the same thing. So I want to share my screen. And hopefully you guys will still be able to see me when I go to my notes, which are on the device where my face is. So if my face disappears, at least you'll be able to see the screen. But I'll pop back in and out periodically because I want to see your beautiful faces and ask questions. Okay. First, I want to just start by asking, can everybody hear me? Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
Thumbs up.
Yep.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you very much. Today we're talking about escaping holiday blues, and I want to go over, if I can get it to change. Okay. The agenda for today, I've already done the introduction. We're going to begin with breath. Then we're going to have a poll statistic results kind of thing, where I'm going to ask you guys a few questions. And what I would like for now, for the first 2 questions that I'm going to ask, for you to put your answers in the chat, and then we're going to discuss it. I wanted to be able to do that poll and statistic here where you can just click on a thing and say yes to that. But I was technologically challenged, so I wasn't able to do that. I think the other thing that your experience is because I am speaking through my computer, and that's when my face goes away. So I apologize. Maybe I should have had my voice on my phone. Then we're gonna do, I'm gonna share a presentation, just share some facts, some statistics, and talk a little bit about my own personal story, and then ask you guys about a few questions as well. Then I'm gonna share some tips and resources, and we're gonna have reflections and questions. Now, all of those things might not necessarily be presented on a slide because I had an oops in my, everything went down this morning at my home. So you're gonna get part of the presentation here, and then part of it is gonna be spoken. If you have any questions, please feel free to put that in the chat or raise your hand and I will pause and take questions. I also want to just share this disclaimer that this presentation is for informational purposes and does not substitute for professional advice, diagnosis, or treatment by a licensed psychiatrist, psychologist, therapist, or other medical professional. If you're in crisis or you think that you may have an emergency, please contact your doctor or utilize the new crisis hotline number by dialing 988 on your phone, or you can use the National Suicide Prevention Hotline at 1-800-273-8255. Let's begin with breath. Okay, I apologize. I'm stopping it because I realized I didn't optimize for sound. And I never removed it. You care. I'm glad you figured it out.
Welcome to Take a Deep Breath. Over the next 5 minutes, I will guide you through a very simple breathing meditation that will help you relax, unwind, and feel less stress. Let's start by sitting or lying down, and if you like, you can close your eyes. You can simply listen to my voice as I guide you into a deeper state of relaxation. If thoughts come into your mind, that's okay. Allow them to come and go, because all the time we will bring our attention back to our breath. For now, just observe your breath. How is the breath at this moment? Is it shallow? Is it fast? Is it slow? Is it deep? Just bring attention to your breath and bring attention to your body. If you like, you can place one hand on your tummy. This will help you feel your breath. Pay attention to the slightly cooler air as it comes into your nose and the slightly warmer air that leaves your nose. The rhythm of in and out. Inhale and exhale. Okay, I'd like you now to begin to slow your breathing down ever so slightly. Make that inhale a little longer and make the exhale also a little longer. If you can, make that inhale a little bit deeper and extend that exhale a little longer. As you breathe in, maybe add just a little pause before the exhale, and as you breathe out, again, add just that slightest of pause before we go back for the next inhale of breath.
Yeah, we got a free pass or whatever, so we
Breath
got,
is life, and life is breath. And this
but we have
wonderful
not historically done that, no.
conscious breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. Not worrying if our attention is taken elsewhere, because at any point we can feel the air coming in through our nose and out through our nose, and we can bring our attention always back to the anchor, which is our breath. Many people don't realise we carry a lot of tension in our head. So now, relax your forehead, relax your jaw, unclench it if it's clenched or tight, and relax the little muscles that sit behind your eyes. As we move down through the body, relax your shoulders and scan down the body. And as we slowly scan all the way down to our toes, just sensing anything that might be tight and relaxing where we can. And remember, if at any moment we start to drift, then back to the breath. In deeply through the nose and out through the nose. Slow conscious breathing like this has been proven to help us unwind, to help us relax, and to help us change our state. And we know, don't we, deep inside, by spending a few moments on ourselves with a practice such as this, we can feel the difference. We feel calmer and more relaxed. Know that this exercise is always with you, no matter what the situation, no matter where you are. You can always breathe in slowly and deeply through your nose and slowly and deeply out your nose. In a moment, I'm going to ask you to open your eyes, but before I do, let me congratulate you and say thank you for taking some time for you today to relax and unwind. Open your eyes when you're ready and have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you.
Okay, how you all feeling? Nobody feels anything?
I feel relaxed. I feel like I could take a nap.
I wish I could do that more. Just get myself into that state. It's hard.
I agree. I definitely agree, Kathy. George, what
Definitely.
about you? Lynette, I'm sorry. I heard you.
I definitely feel more relaxed. My son actually did it with me. It's something that we do, but I like this one was even more in depth. So thank you.
You're quite welcome. So let me tell you why I began and started with breath. I started with breath. Again, I think you're seeing I want to change so that you can see my face when I'm talking.
We can see your face, Stacy, already when you're talking. You're good.
Sorry. I did it. All right, let's see. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. My face goes away there, so I feel like I can't see myself either. So I just wanted to make sure you could still see me and hear me. But thank you. All right. Anyone else wanted to share like how they felt after the breathing exercise?
Stacy, it's Lori. I'll share that at the beginning, I realized I wasn't breathing deep. I was just breathing shallow.
Mhm.
And, you know, it brought me consciousness to the importance of oxygenating, bringing more air in.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Anybody else?
After the first few breaths, I could definitely feel like tension release out of my shoulders. Definitely noticed that.
Yes.
I
Well,
would like to hear from Miss Candelera on the beach if this impacted her beach trip.
Yeah. Well, the beach for me is the magic doing of the breath. So so I'm pretty relaxed anyway, but I did partake in that. And I know I do this often. So I definitely, there is a difference. You just feel yourself just kind of relax away, and it's great.
Awesome.
And I'll just share, this is Christina. I always have a difficult time doing this. My mind is going a mile a minute, and I'm thinking about 10 different things at the same time. And so when I actually can focus and spend the time on breathing, it's very helpful, but I don't prioritize that and make time for that because it's hard for me I almost get anxious trying so hard to get to that point. So I feel better once I do, but it's a challenge.
Understood. I appreciate that, Christina. Anyone else before I say? Going once, going twice? Okay. So I started with breath precisely for many of the reasons that you guys just spoke about. Um, I'm also recognizing that I'm looking down at this camera and not into that camera. But I started with the breath because this morning, lo and behold, while I'm doing all my little finishing tweaks and touches, making sure I spell things correctly and everything, what happened? The internet went out. I started having all kinds of tech issues. And I was like, okay, so we have to do some deep breathing. And I am generally a person who gets really nervous before I speak. I mean, I've been speaking for, I can't tell you, over 20 years now, and every single time I'm still extremely nervous when I'm about to do this. So I did it also so that I could calm my mind and my nerves. I felt my heart racing 10,000 miles per minute. And then I had to rush out and come to the library. So breathing was helpful for me, even in this moment, not just this morning when I had to stop and take quite a few breaths, but even in this moment and just kind of settling down and getting started. And it helps to bring us to a centered place and helps us to be ready to focus on the content at hand. And also because the content that we talk about, it may be triggering, it may be emotional, it's sensitive, all those sorts of things. Because we're talking about holiday blues, we're talking about something that's already touchy, right? And so I wanted to start intentionally with breath so that we can prepare our bodies to relax so that we're not already in that heightened state. I think it was my sister Alyssa that said, you know, just feeling that tension in your shoulders. And we tend to hold on to a lot of things in our bodies, especially as it relates to mental health. So I'm gonna go back and share my screen again. Okay. So here's where I'm sharing the poll and asking these two questions. What's your favorite holiday? And what is your least favorite holiday? So if you want to put number 1 dot and then whatever A, B, C, D, or E. And then if you want to put number 2 dot A, B, C, D, or E. You don't have to spell the word out unless you want to. If we can do that, take a few minutes and do that. Did everybody get to provide an answer there?
Stacy, are you able to see the chat?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna stop. I will intermittently stop the sharing so that I can be able to come back on and see your faces. So it looks like if you were to say, I believe Christmas is the most favorite holiday. It looks like 8 of you selected Christmas, and it looks like the least favorite is Valentine's Day. I saw in the chat that Lynette said that her least favorite is Memorial Day. Well, I have a little story, and so is mine. I might have dual least favorite holidays. So, and that was why I put the none of the above, because, well, there are so many different holidays. Some people celebrate more, some holidays more than others. Thank you all for participating in that poll. So I want to say, according to statistics and research shows that Thanksgiving is the most popular holiday, with Memorial Day and Christmas being tied as the second most popular holiday, and Veterans Day and Mother's Day are the third most popular holidays. These statistics often change from year to year. So I will add this where these statistics came from. I'm pretty sure that it's on my other little sheet, but it's not at the bottom here. But I'll make sure you guys have that if you want to take a look at it. I think I just went to Statista or something like that and looked at what they have there. But there are so many different polls that you can look at too, and they vary, but most of them are very similar. And yes, I use NAMI as a resource. According to a 2014 survey by NAMI, 64% of people with mental illness report that holidays make their conditions worse. 24% say that holidays, 24% say that holidays make their condition a lot worse, and 40% say that the holidays make their condition somewhat worse. So then I want to talk and ask the question. I think I'm going to jump over here. I want to just share these definitions. Most of us here may be familiar with these definitions. And this resource I have from the Mayo Clinic, I did put the link down here at the bottom. I'll make sure you guys get the slides as well. But I want to talk about the difference between depression and holiday blues. Is there a difference? So let me ask the question of, is there a difference between depression and holiday blues?
Yep.
Yes. What would you say is the difference, George?
Longevity, frequency of symptoms,
Mm-hmm.
and as you were saying, the intermittent nature.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Fluid. Thank you, George. Anyone else have thoughts? Yes, Kathy.
Well, to me, depression, if you're going through a holiday with the holiday blues, depression makes it worse. And so you don't have the energy to really try to make something of it or change the situation. It just makes it's an addition to the depression.
I definitely agree. And a lot of the research out there says the same thing. So we're talking about coupling now, where you may have a diagnosis, but there are some people that that are not diagnosed with depression or an SMI or anything like that, but they definitely still struggle with holiday blues. And so we'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment. But depression specifically has feelings of sadness and tearfulness and emptiness and hopelessness, anger and angry outbursts and things like that, while you can still have those same exact symptoms with holiday blues. It's so much more irritability and frustration, just many different emotions that you can feel during that time. Some people feel isolated, but then they don't really want to be around people and they isolate all the more, which makes the symptoms worse. 'Cause
So here I was getting ready to, I'm going to share a short story. And
George has his hand up.
I'm sorry, George. Yes.
I wanted to share that with the feelings that I had, I signed up to volunteer on Christmas Day. So no downtime feeling sorry about it. And helping serve 5,000 meals.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't have to be
volunteering. Where are you volunteering?
It's Salvation Army serves meals at the Phoenix Convention Center.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's for Christmas,
Thank
because I probably need to find something to do too. So thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
Okay. So, short story. Like I said, some people that are present here might be asking, or people that might review this later, I don't know, might ask, okay, so what's the difference between depression and holiday blues? We've already kind of gone through it a little bit, but I just want to say that there was another poll that revealed that most people shared that the holidays contributed to, and I'm pretty sure that this was a NAMI statistics as well, that most people contributed the holiday blues to feeling sadness or dissatisfaction. They also felt 68% of the people felt financially strained, 66% of the people felt lonely, 63% felt pressured, 57% felt unrealistic expectations. And I believe, this is my opinion, personal opinion, I believe that directly correlates with the financial strains and the pressures that people feel, right? But we'll come back again to that a little bit later as well. If 55% recall happier times from the past and contrasted them with their present or current circumstances. And so that also left that feeling of sadness or the blues. Okay. And I see a comment down there, so I want to share that comment. It says, the blues are also exacerbated by someone's death during this time of year. I absolutely agree with that. And it said 50% were simply unable to be with the loved ones. And so I'm going to ask another question. Mackenzie, I agree. The financial strain is huge. I'm glad you're discussing this. Thank you so much. How many of you feel that you fit into one or more of the categories that I just shared? Like you feel financial pressure, maybe you feel emptiness, maybe you feel isolated. I can read those again. It says 66% feel lonely, 68% feel financially strained, 63% feel pressured, 57% feel unrealistic expectations, 55% recall happier memories and reminiscing about past times, maybe when children were little, we used to have the whole entire family together. And then 50% were simply unable to be with loved ones. Anybody feels like they fit into any of those categories? I know I do. You might fit into one or more.
Yeah, I can relate to that. If you are getting that from a slide, we're not seeing the slide.
No, you're not. You're not.
Thank you.
That's the notes. I got different things going on. I got papers. I have everything. I told you I had some tech difficulties early, so I had to do the best I could with what I had.
Yeah, well, I think that was a real smorgasbord to choose from. And to me, if anybody said they couldn't identify with one of them, there may be some denial going on.
Thanks, Lori.
I would say, this is Lynette, happier memories. It's definitely one that I can relate to. You know, you have so many changes that happen in your life. And I'll just say a little on my mother's side of the family. I'm one of the elders. Now, I'm in my 50s. So, you know, a lot of folks aren't here anymore. So happier memories and childhood memories.
I get it. Anyone else? No? Okay.
Okay, I'll add another thing that really gripes me about holidays is I experience depression anyway, and I deal with depression by trying to reach out and doing something for someone else in the community or whatever. Those opportunities get taken away during holidays because everything changes. And to find, George may, like going to the food bank, but that's not my idea. I have my little set patterns of what I like to do, and they're gone.
Understood. What do you like to do, Kathy? We might have to create something for you.
Okay, if nothing else comes out of this, if there was something that we could do to reach out, especially our population, to be helpful, like during Christmas or, the high holy days, but everyone seems to be taken care of, or, it just seems it's not needed.
I don't know if that's 100% accurate, but we'll
Well,
go.
I know, yeah.
We'll go with it for now. But no, I definitely agree. One of the things that I wanted to kind of come back to was when it talked about, of course, we definitely know people feel financially strained. Why? Because what do people want to do for Christmas or for every holiday? It's like some type of financial commitment attached to those things. And so you feel like you want to go out and get Easter baskets or Easter dress. You feel like you want to go out and buy chocolates and balloons or take someone to the dinners for Valentine's Day. You have Christmas, you have to purchase all of these gifts, and that's both the pressure and the financial strain there that's going on. And then you also have I don't know, like the food part of it. Like if you're talking about just Thanksgiving by itself, like, I know I love to feed people, and if I don't have money to buy food, like I'm really stressed about it. But so I just want to say that there's so many different components that go into all of the different holidays and why people might feel blues. So I know we're doing this specifically around the Thanksgiving and Christmas holiday, but when I thought about this, I thought about it broadly about all holidays. And I can tell you because of my own personal experience. Again, I'm going to get to that. But not yet. So I'm come back again. And just for the sake of sharing, I just want to make sure that we also just kind of go over what is depression? What does it look like? And again, I have received this from the Mayo Clinic. I want to make sure people know that I'm not doing any bad things, trying to attribute these things as if I created these. I did not create these definitions. Clinical depression, it says that a mental health disorder characterized by persistently depressed moods or loss of interest in activities causing significant impairment in daily activity. The activity part is missing. Persistent depressive disorder is mild but long-term form of depression. Bipolar disorder is a disorder associated with episodes of mood swings ranging from depressive lows to manic highs. Bipolar 2 disorder is a type of bipolar disorder characterized by depressive and hypomanic episodes. And then, of course, the list continues to go, but I'll stop right there with those particular definitions. So I think I already said this, but I'll share it again anyway. We're managing the holiday blues. We're talking about, although holiday blues and mental illness can be viewed as two different things, it's important to know that if you have an extended period of sadness, that should be monitored and maybe taken more seriously. I think I was going to ask the question, but I didn't ask it yet, so I'll ask the question now. But it should be taken more seriously and monitored so that, because it can lead to other clinically mental health issues or problems, such as severe major depression and anxiety. So I want to keep that in mind. And the reason why I'm making that statement, because some of us here are peer, family members, allies, but we know that if we have family members that we support, that we care for, that we love, or people that we just come in contact with, we want to be mindful that they could be experiencing depression, or they could just be experiencing some issues with holiday blues, and being able to ask the right questions so that you can support them well is important. So I'm going to ask a few other questions. how many of you generally feel anxious during the holidays?
Anxious?
Yes, sad, anxious, depressed, hopeless.
Come on, you guys, get it up there.
And what do you do when you feel these feelings? What do you generally do when you feel these feelings?
This is Sherry. When that happens, and especially in the holidays, I try to do something else to keep myself busy. So I'm not focusing on just
Mhm.
the blues, you know? And if I can't do anything else, I'll reach out to like my kids or a neighbor that hasn't heard from me in a while, or a friend, or just something. I try to, deviate that any way I can.
Mhm. Thank you so much, Sharon. I appreciate you sharing.
This is Christina. I'll share two things that have been really important in my recovery and are crucial during the holidays. Is I'm a survivor of bulimia, right? And so food has been a big deal in my life and a big deal growing up. And so I know now I enjoy eating and I want to enjoy eating and I don't want to feel guilty about it. And I have a hard time controlling my portions and eating in moderation, especially when there's sweets and chocolate. I'm still eating my kids' Halloween candy. But so I know that the first thing I need to do is I need to get out of bed and I need to go for a hike or exercise. Yesterday morning was a great example. My back was killing me. And I think it's just because of, stress and anxiety of the holidays and, wanting to make it special for your kids. But my husband forced me to get out of bed and go for a hike. And it was the best thing, right? And then I still ate leftovers the next day and it was great. I think the other thing that's been really important for me during the holidays is to not have many expectations. I grew up where my parents, my mom always wanted the best and they wanted to be perfect. And so when I go home for the holidays, it's still very stressful because the house needs to be perfectly clean and, everyone needs to love their presents. And it's just, like, gosh, I mean, this is just not what it's about, right? And so now, we'll eat Thanksgiving meal in our pajamas and I wait till the last minute to figure out what my menu is. And so my expectations, I've just lowered them greatly. And I've just focused on spending those moments with my kids and teaching them that it's all about just spending time with family. And so lowering my expectations and exercise has been key for me.
I love it. You're going into some of the tips, and I appreciate that because it's all fluid. It all works really together. Me too. I learned that I love food, and so I just eat, and then I make sure that I attempt to monitor my portions, except for this time of year. I don't put too many limits on myself this particular time of year. I just don't. I just know that I still get up and go walking every day. Yes, if I can get some yoga in, get that in, make sure that I'm breathing and doing my meditation, but eat and enjoy it, not feel guilty afterwards.
This is Lynette. I will add that one of the things that I did for me is wanting to make sure the holidays are wonderful for everyone, and especially, us as adults, but also the grandkids. I mean, they just brighten my day. But what I've learned to do is to pace myself. And this year I decided I'm not going to cook Thanksgiving. And boy, some of my children had a hard time because they love my dressing. But I said, I'm willing to help teach you guys how to make it. But I says, you can have it in Christmas. So I've made my mind up because preparing for two very busy holidays back to back was stressful for me, not to mention I would be exhausted. So I told my family every year, I'm going to choose one. And then after that I'll host, but I'll go to everyone else's houses. And I tell you, it made all the difference in the world. And exercise and quality me time is important. And I still got to see everyone and hug the grandkids and love everyone, but I just have more energy for it, So pacing myself, not trying to overdo it, and helping everyone else to understand that too, that, I need time.
Understood. definitely understand that. I like all of these. They go really well with all of the other pieces that are going to come together. So if I wanted to just do a quick, I'm going to ask a couple questions, but I'm not going to ask you to answer now. I'm just going to ask you to think about them. I might even put them in the chat so you can think about them, and we'll come to it at the end when we do reflections and questions. But we talked a lot about like sadness and depression and anxiety and the holiday blues. And I would like for you to think about other people that you are connected to, and just think about, is there someone in your family or friend, a loved one, that also struggles during this time of year? And how do you support them? Not that you have to answer now, but I'm gonna put the question in the chat.
I'd like to comment on that because it's a big one. And, you know, a lot of us work in recovery and we work with people in recovery. And I think that it's important to know that it's okay to have these feelings that we've talked about. And I hate to use the word normal, but to be sad, to feel lonely, to miss those that have gone before us, it comes up at the holiday time. And I think to support people when they're experiencing that, to validate it, and sometimes just listening and knowing that we're not going to fix it, but just, you know, there's that statement, misery loves company. Well, people feel better when they know they're not alone.
That part, I agree. I think this might be a great place for me to segue in. So I waited for a bit to talk a little bit about my own personal experience with experiencing the holiday blues. So May 29, 2000, my mom transitioned. She passed, and it was Memorial Day. So whoever said, I think it was Lynette that said she doesn't like Memorial Day. Neither do I. For 23 years, I have not really celebrated the holiday like we used to, because during Memorial Day, Labor Day, 4th of July, every holiday, my family and I, we got together, whether we were doing a cookout or whether we were cooking together, every potluck, if we were playing cards, dancing, music, whatever. It was eating a bushel of crabs, because you know I'm from Maryland, so that's one of the things that we love to do. But no matter, we were always together during the holidays, and my mom passed on Memorial Day. And so I feel like when my mom passed away, there was this piece of me that kind of died too. And I've written a couple of books and kind of talk about it a little bit. And even how until 2020, I didn't realize how much I was suffering with holiday blues that extended beyond the blues and went into some really serious depression. And I feel like at some points in my life, I was really, I guess we would say, high functioning in a way. Like I was looking like everything was okay, and I was still moving and going through the motions of everyday life, day to day, but had not really dealt with the fact that I lost my mom, and that I really hated, not just, and I say hate is a little tough word to deal with, but I really did. I hated Memorial Day. And growing up, Thanksgiving has always historically been my favorite holiday, forever. Because I get to eat a lot of food, but also because that's the time when I was born. I was born November the 24th. So I'm a turkey baby, like quite literally. And so I really started not liking Thanksgiving. And I love to cook, but I would cook for my siblings, for my family, for friends, and I wouldn't enjoy it as much. I would love to still cook for them, but I wouldn't. Was not enjoying the actual holiday itself. I missed my mother immensely. I was having a really tough time. And I think the other thing is that even though I was surrounded by all my siblings and my nieces and nephews, my children, friends, and other family members, I felt isolated and alone because my siblings never wanted to talk about my mom, because I'm the crybaby. And so as soon as I start reminiscing, talking about the memories, I start boo-hooing. but you know, some part of me laughing about a thing that she did or said, or something that I did or said, and then the other part of me is crying because I miss her. And my siblings were like, we can't handle the tears and all of these emotions, and we don't want you bringing up mom during, you know, either you can talk about it and don't cry, or don't talk about it. And so then what I started doing is I started isolating. I stopped, especially like Christmas too was a huge holiday. We would all get together, put all the gifts under the tree. Now imagine my mom had 7 grandchildren before she passed, but by the time we all started coming together, it's like 21, 22 of them. Just imagine how big it looked like. Santa Claus really came down the chimney at our house. There's so many toys underneath the Christmas tree, but the issue was I was not enjoying the holidays anymore, and I couldn't talk about it, and I felt really bad. So I would just disappear. I would disappear with my children most of the time, not always, but disappear with my children most of the time to a hotel and just have their bag of toys or whatever I had for them, and do my daughter's hair, turn off my phone, be snowed in, get our own little food and have it at the hotel. And my siblings would be so angry with me when I finally came up out of wherever I was at. Where were you at? We were calling. Everybody's been looking for you. And I couldn't tell them, like, y'all made me feel like I couldn't be present because I couldn't display my feelings. I couldn't put them on display. And if anybody knows me, I'm a very touchy-feely and emotional person, and I like to be able to share and talk. Talking has historically been the thing that has helped sustain me through a lot of the holiday blues and the depression and stuff. But when that got cut off, I just felt like I was by myself. And so I stopped going around during those times. I think my children have some very vivid memories, and they didn't see it as me being sad or depressed because they still had all these toys, and they were like, oh, we went on vacation. We would just be like literally 20 minutes up the road from the family house at some little hole in the wall, little hotel or something like that. But I said that to say, yes, it could be about death, right? We talked about that, but it could also just be about the isolation where you're around people and still feel very, very alone. So I like what Lori said when she said, give people an opportunity to just be able to express where they are, say where they are, and just show up and just be support, even if it's just holding space with them. And a lot of people don't know how to do that because it makes them have to touch and tap into their own emotions, which they're unwilling to deal with, to admit, to face. So they avoid it all. And so I just want to say that it's okay for you to feel all your feelings. In fact, I participated in an anthology that says Permission to Feel and Heal. That's one of the books that I participated in. And it talks about how I held on to grief for 20 something years with my mom and over 20 plus more years with my dad, because my dad died when I was 5 and my mom when I was 24. Talks about how I felt like an adult orphan, like 24 years old. That's kind of young not to have any parents, any grandparents. All I have is my siblings, my children, nieces and nephews. I did have great aunties and uncles, but it never crossed our minds that we were supposed to talk to them about it. And no one came to talk to us. So we just kind of held on to it. And I specifically just kind of collapsed within myself. I also see that those types of behaviors can, and I talk to some of the clients that I work with, I talk about how when we are not being able to communicate and share and express our feelings and emotions, and our children are watching us, they tend to kind of hold on to some of the things that we're holding on to, even if we never say it. So the people that are around us are actually affected and impacted by our feelings as well, our emotions as well. And so I just want to say that it is still okay to feel every last one of your feelings. And it is also okay for you to get the support and the help that you need. That goes back to saying that if you need to go to therapy, if you want to join a group, if you need to volunteer, if you just need to sit in a community of peers, it is important for you to do that for you, to maintain a sense of groundedness and peace, and to heal through the process. Because I think that we're all always in recovery. Most people won't say it like that, but we're recovering from something, because holiday blues could be about a loss. And so we talk about grief, meaning like most people think of grief as death, but it's about loss as well. We just now had a whole lot of people that experienced homelessness due to COVID. They are still unhoused. Some of them are living in shelters. Some of them are staying with family members. Some of them are staying with perfect strangers. A lot of them are on the street. And that's loss. And that is hurtful. That is pain as well. I do understand and know what that is like to experience that and to be homeless and not feeling like you have the space that you're accustomed to being in, to be able to be with family or be unhoused and be with family, but again, still just know that you lost everything that you had and just feeling that grief. And then nobody wanting to talk about that either. So I think that it's important for us to look at the holiday blues as not just death, not just depression and other diagnoses, but that we're also very intentional to look at all the other aspects of our lives that impact every single holiday that we might experience those blues. I mean, for some, for Valentine's Day, is the fact that maybe they just got divorced. Maybe they are in a marriage that they're unhappy with. Maybe they want to be married and are not married. Maybe they don't feel loved. It's so many different things that come up when we're talking about holiday blues. It's not, I know we're talking about Thanksgiving and Christmas specifically, but I want to make sure that I extend it out again and make it broad because there's so many different holidays that people struggle with. How many people struggle with birthdays? Yeah. Okay, nobody else with me? Okay, I can't see everybody anyway, so I apologize if you put your hand up or shook your head, yes. But I mean, I struggle with birthdays. I struggle with my mom's birthday. I struggled every time one of my children had a birthday. I struggle with my own birthday because when she passed away, it was May. And that November of 2000, I turned 25. And that November 2000, my sister turned 21. That was the last time I really celebrated my birthday because I had already intended for me and my sister, who were having big number birthdays, for us to celebrate our birthdays together. And so we did that. We had the 21st and the 25th birthday party together, a joint party. And it was beautiful. And we tried to do a tribute to our mom, and it was very teary and all of that stuff. For me, it was okay. For other people, it was not. They were like, we don't want to cry. Why you always make everybody cry? Because tears help cleanse, in case y'all didn't know that. But tears help cleanse. So cry, it's okay. It's okay. And if you're still crying to next week, this time, I need you to call somebody because you can cry, but not for a week. Don't cry for a week. Get some support. That's what I would encourage you to do. I'm not saying that it's not okay. I'm saying get some support. If you're crying for longer than a day or two, you might need some additional professional support. Anybody disagree with that? No? Okay. There was something else I was going to say, but I think I just lost it. Yeah. Oh, that was what I was going to say. Again, when we're talking about all of the holiday blues, I just keep on thinking about all these different holidays that have some significance to it that directly affected or impacted me in some way. And so Valentine's Day was my time with my daddy. It was like the exciting time where I knew I was going to get hugs and kisses and get up on his shoulders and get up there and reach to the candy jar and get all of the chocolates that I wasn't supposed to be eating because I was tall enough. So these are just things that I just keep thinking about. And I just encourage people to feel all your feelings and get the support that you need and that you want. All right, let's make sure that I didn't miss anything. It says my internet is unstable. Have mercy on us all. All right, so I think we talked about this already, but I'll just restate it. According to experts, depression is a mood disorder that persists, that with persistent feelings of persistence. I don't know why I had that twice, but so they can persist. I think I did get to the place where I wanted to allow for questions and reflections. Is there anything anyone wants to ask or say?
Stacy, it's Lori. You know what you were saying about Memorial Day weekend. My mother passed away on an Easter Sunday. And
Mhm.
for me, the remembering of the day that she left is not the date. It's always Easter Sunday, whatever day that is.
Mhm. I agree. I think I've historically suffered through the actual date, the 29th, and I've also suffered through whatever the day is. So I might spend a whole week just cringing and not even realizing that part of the reason why I'm frustrated or I'm antsy or I'm sad, anxious, irritable, all those different things was because the date was coming up. And then it would hit me. All of a sudden I could not function. I would be all out of whack, all out of sync. And I think I have some mentors who started noticing when I was my patterns, and they started to help me to recognize those patterns. And so that's the reason why I continue to just say encourage, because I know we're here a community of peers, and so some of us are familiar with these things, but people that might watch this later may not necessarily be familiar with the fact that community is important to help to support you through a thing or while you're in a thing. Sometimes you just can't do it by yourself. Most times we can't do it by ourselves. Although we will try. Right, Christina? We will try, won't we? We will try by ourselves.
This is Lynette. I just wanted to add to that when we talked about Memorial Day, and thank you for bringing that up. I think for me, it's responsibility and legacy. And although there were joyous moments in it because you're reminiscing, my grandmother did something that she never stopped doing. And she would call me up and say, take me to the memorial parks, because she had lost 2 children, as well as she wanted to make sure that she honored them. So every Memorial Day, Lynette was going to go to that memorial park and make sure that she had her flowers to put on there. And so for me, it's about legacy because she's not here anymore. So I keep that going. And although it is a beautiful thing knowing that I can honor something that was important to her, it's emotional. It's emotional. And she's one of the last ones I'll go to, and I'll say, I'll take care of it, Grandma. You know, I know she can't hear me, and my belief, she's in the presence of the Lord. But to be able to know it's still going, because that was her thing. I'm not going to forget anyone. And keeping that legacy going. So it's a lot of emotions. It's stressful getting all the flowers together. I leave with boxes of flowers and vases in the back of my SUV. But it's a lot. So it's beautiful, but it's also emotional.
Absolutely. I think that is so sweet that you're continuing that legacy, because that was the next part that I was going to share is what kind of habits can you create to help you through the holiday blues? So that I'm going to share, like Lynette just now said, one of the things that I started doing once I realized that I was being triggered by the holiday, by Memorial Day, and that whole month, because you had Mother's Day in that month. Both my next to the youngest nephew, I can't even say that, third youngest nephew, and my daughter both had birthdays in that month. And then you have my mom passed in that month. And so the month of May was just like, oh, I don't want to do anything. Funny story. It was April 2008. And I was supposed to be getting ready to graduate with my bachelor's and walk across the stage in May 2008. In April 2008, everything dropped out the bottom. Does that make sense what I'm saying? The crap hit the fan, and I did not know what was happening with me. All I knew is I kept saying, I can't graduate. I cannot walk across the stage. I'm going to have to quit. What was wrong with me? I was going through it and didn't understand or know that I was feeling all my feelings, but wasn't able to express and articulate what I was feeling, period. That was it. So again, when I had a couple of professors and my mentor who really coached me through that moment, they were like, listen, I need you to get through this. Here's some suggestions. Maybe let's think through the process. What can we do? And so I was able to say, I'm overwhelmed by everything and I need some respite. I need my professors to give me a little time to do some incompletes. So I was able to get a couple of incompletes so that I could walk across the stage and finish my work over the summer and turn it in and get my degree in the fall. Wow, who knew you could do that? But that's because I had some great people around me that supported me and that encouraged me through some really tough times, even though some of them had no clue what was really going on. They just knew, like, she just show up for everything. She's an overachiever, and then all of a sudden she just dropped out the bottom for everything. And so what I decided from that moment on, well, in 2002, 2003, I began something called Living in the Legacy of Our Parents. So I started doing this thing where I wanted to celebrate my mom's life. So I celebrated her and my dad on her birthday, which is in February, February the 12th. It's right before Valentine's Day. My mama was a love baby. I'm a turkey baby. I guess that matches up, huh? She was a love baby. I was born in November. Anyway, they'll get that later. But I decided that we were going to create this. And I'm the second oldest child. I'm not the oldest child. I have an older brother, but I'm the oldest. I am the oldest. So I'm the one that organizes everybody, brings the family together, makes sure that, we eat, we take family pictures, we do all these different things, make sure that I kind of act like grandma in some ways with some of my nieces and nephews. I make sure that they want to play an instrument, they play an instrument. If they want to go to dance school, whatever they want to do. I'm not rich. I just be trying to figure things out to make sure that they have quality of life, right? So I started this celebration, and we would do it starting off as potluck. And it eventually grew until 2015, it turned into a family reunion. And then 2016, a bigger family reunion. And then 2017, an even larger family reunion. And as you can imagine, it just continued to grow. But of course, 2020 kind of shut it down. And I have not been inclined to start it all over again because it's a lot of work. But I did use my mom's birthday as the date to hold on to legacy of our parents and to build something for our children and her grandchildren and great grandchildren, because there are a few of those now, in order to be able to get past the blues. So I created something out of the pain that I was experiencing and feeling. And so again, if I want to ask the question of what I heard Lynette and you guys heard me, what can you do? Or what types of things would you like to do if you haven't already started doing something that will help you to process and to be able to move through where you are as it pertains to holiday blues? And whatever the holiday is for you, it could be Christmas, it could be Thanksgiving, it could be Valentine's Day, it could be birthdays, Mother's Day, Father's Day. What are you creating to help you to process and move through the pain? And that is a real question.
This is Sherry. This is not kind of a holiday thing, but my son completed suicide in June of 2007, and he would have turned, I'm trying to think of his age. He would have turned 36 on his birthday, which would have been July 20th. So what we decided to do to take the sadness of our loss, all of us get together and we get balloons, a bunch of balloons, and we write messages on them. And we go to the local park and we release the balloons. But before we release the balloons, we get whoever's not there physically, we call them on the phone. So we have everybody somehow connected to us. And we sing happy birthday. And then we release the balloons with all the messages on them. And it's perfect. It just takes that terrible loss to, we know you're in a better place, you know what I mean? And then everybody's together and they're not sad. And so that's something we've done since he died.
Thank you so much for sharing, Sherry. That's awesome. That is awesome. You kind of got me over here teary-eyed. I told y'all I'm actually the crybaby, so If y'all see a couple tears, it's okay. I'm fine. I just feel my feelings. Thank you, Sherry.
Mackenzie, you have your hand up?
Yeah, Stacy, I'm a crier too, and I have something of tradition that my friend has that I'll share, but I also think it's important during the holidays that we don't should on ourselves because there's a lot of pressure to feel a certain way and to always be in the holiday spirit and feel celebratory, but I think we also need to make space for the sadness and the almost disappointment sometimes. Like when you're a child, the holidays can be so exciting. And as an adult, there are so many pressures that come along with it. So I think leaving room for all that is important. But I will say I have one of my best friends lost her brother on December 30th. And so in his honor, they just posted on social media and they just sort of challenge people to do random acts of kindness in his honor. So one of the things they do is take snacks to the fire station and or maybe it's buying somebody a coffee or even giving somebody a compliment. And I think that's a really beautiful way of commemorating him, but also realizing that his death doesn't have to be something that is only a negative day. So it's really that both and of being sad and realizing how awful it is, but also realizing that good can come out of challenging times.
Absolutely. That is sweet. I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Daryl, you have your hand up?
Yeah, something I had to do for my recovery, I'll tell you a short story, is that every holidays I was in a previous marriage for 20 years that we had to stand at the stove and stir the gravy, you know, while my wife prepared other things, and she would become very angry, depressed, and sad if that gravy was not stirred correctly. You know, it kind of seemed like it ruined her own whole holiday, and there was nothing we could do to make her feel better or support her in any other way but stir that gravy. And that was really hard for me, you know, and it caused a lot of stress with me. So in my recovery, I call it a can of gravy. You know, during Thanksgiving, if I have to go buy a can of gravy and pour it in a pan and heat it up for the turkey, then that's what I do. I try to simplify my holiday to make it so it's easier on me, easier on the people, lower kind of the expectations of it all, and just try to make it a little bit easier on my recovery because expectations will take me down, you know, and so will depression and sadness. And you know, I'm no longer in that long term marriage, and I don't have to do those traditions every year, you know. So I came up with some simplified traditions during with my new family. And of course, my kids are still involved, and they seem a lot happier when they come to my house for Thanksgiving. So it just makes it a little easier on us. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Daryl. Am I pausing? Am I freezing?
No, you're good. And so looking at other things that help us, Lynette says in the chat, I bake pineapple upside down cake every Christmas. It was my mom's favorite because her grandmother baked it for her, and even though she's no longer with us, I still bake it in her honor.
Oh, how sweet. I love that.
So who else wants to share what tricks you have up your sleeve for combating the holiday blues and getting through?
No one?
Chaz, okay, go ahead, Chaz. Thank you.
I had to give myself permission to do this year, and it sounds it sounds weird, but I just have to, well, it is actually my mother who gave me the idea that asserting to myself that I'm an adult and I can choose where I want to be when I want to be there.
Mhm.
And for this Thanksgiving, I was in a position where I didn't have to be anywhere. And so I took this Thanksgiving off and enjoyed it immensely. So just recognizing that you do have agency and people need to respect that you have that choice as an adult, as a person, to determine where you're going to be and where you're not. And if everyone's going to be in a certain place and you decide otherwise, that's nothing they can hold against you.
Absolutely.
So if they, if they're going to hold it against you, that's on them. So that's at least what I did.
Thank you, Chaz. I couldn't see you, but I know you're there because I heard your voice. Thank you so much for sharing. I appreciate that because that's one of the things for as far as tips, understanding and knowing that you do have the ability, the agency, the choice, the freedom to decide where you want to be and who you want to be around during the holidays. Some people elect not to be around anyone during the holidays. I am not the best person to say that that's okay to do because I understand that I did it as a tactic to as safety, right? Because I couldn't show up as myself in spaces. So in some ways, those spaces didn't feel safe. I just recently had someone who, excuse me, shared something very similar. They said that the anniversary of their loved one's death is extremely triggering. Everything associated with it, because it's very, very new and very fresh. Everything associated with connecting with the loved one's other side of the family has been extremely triggering as well. And the person is like, I don't know how I'm supposed to get through the holidays because I don't want to be around these people who say these sorts of things. One of the loved ones, the loved one that passed away was diagnosed with an SMI, and the loved one connected also diagnosed with an SMI. And the ways in which people are not compassionate in their speech and acknowledging that mental health doesn't have to be looked down at in a negative light. So the person is like, I don't want to be around them because they keep saying that something like, unfortunately, it's most of our religious folks that say mean things. That it's like mental health is a demon. It's not like you just making bad choices. Just choose better. Just don't do those things. Don't act out. And so the person is very triggered, highly heightened. And so I had to think about like, how can I support this person? The first thing that I said was, it's okay for you not to be present in that environment. If that environment is toxic, if it's triggering, if it's hurtful, whatever, then it's okay for you not to do that. You can choose not to be in that environment. And so again, Chaz, thank you for saying that because that's very important for us to remember as well. To be in supportive and loving environments. You're going to keep hearing me say it because it's important for us to do that. Anything else?
Kathy, you're being too quiet.
Thank you. I'll get you, Lori, for that. I just don't know what positive things to say. I think some things are different, especially with those of us that have experienced mental illness, been institutionalized. The holidays were so horrible. And then as an older person, and I'm a lot older than most of you, it's different too. Things are very different. So I don't know what to say, Lori. You've put me on the spot. You did a good job. And I have tried to be creative, especially the last few years, but it just hasn't worked. So for me, it's something to endure. I go visit a family or whatever. I don't want to go there, but I'm going to be there for them, and that's it. It's over with, and I don't want to deal with it for another year. And so it's a bah humbug for me. But as Stacy presents and shares this stuff, I see little places like so. One thing I will share. What I really enjoy is picking someone out in the community that was really nice to me, and I give them money. Someone that doesn't know me, they don't know where the money came from. So I do little things like that, and that gives me a great deal of happiness.
Yay. That just made my whole soul glow.
Well, and if I could just add to that as well, I think one of the Thanksgivings that I'll always remember in working with this group is when the Arizona Parent Family Coalition during COVID, and UCAF especially, just picked up and delivered turkeys and meals. And for me, that's what it's all about, right? And that was such a beautiful moment to not only recognize and see that we are family, right? We may not be related by blood, but in so many ways we're family, and we're all here because we share some huge commonalities. And that was a beautiful gesture that the coalition put on, that Kathy spent so much time doing, and something that really made a big difference in the life for many. So those are the kind of things that I really tried to sort of make time for during the holidays. And yeah, I want to share that.
Thank you, Christina.
Try to give more than we receive, right? That's the goal, is give more than we receive during the holiday time, because we know people are in need.
I definitely agree with that. One of the things that I finally got to do this year for Thanksgiving, especially now, again, we're talking about holiday blues. I'm a recent empty nester. So I forgot to mention that part. Like, you got empty nest syndrome going on over here. So many different things that can contribute to you feeling all the feelings you feel, right? And so recent empty nester, all my children are grown. I don't have any little people at home, and I'm used to cooking for 30 plus, between 30 and 40 people for the holidays. So first off, I have to learn how to cook smaller. But the next thing is creating something that helps me to continue to celebrate in a way. And that makes me feel good. And one of the things that makes me feel good is feeding people. And so this year I decided that I was going to do what I've been wanting to do for years, which is spend Thanksgiving feeding our unhoused friends. And so we plated up maybe about 50 meals on Thursday and took them out into the community. And then Saturday, we took out probably another 10, 20 meals. Not Saturday. Was it Saturday? One of the days. Saturday. I'm pretty sure it was Saturday. Took out some more meals because first off, I cooked all that food. I can't eat it. And I'm not going to throw it in a trash can. So somebody can enjoy it. So again, creating some other small traditions for yourself. Kathy, I love the fact that you just select random people to just be generous and kind to, and that they don't even know that they exhibited or demonstrated some type of kindness towards you that would have you to do that. But I think that that's a blessing so much. So another thing as we get ready to wrap up that I want to just mention is a safety plan. When is it necessary to start considering whether or not you need a safety plan when you're experiencing holiday blues? And I'm sorry, I had to put the phone on the charger, so now I have to hold it. When is it necessary? Can anybody think about a time when you think, should I have a safety plan in place? Do we know what a safety plan is? I know we most of us know what a safety plan is. Okay. Safety plan. I have an example. I probably should have put it up here on the screen, but safety plan is something that says, like, I'm really not feeling my greatest right now. I've been sad or depressed and I can't get out of this bed, and it's been like this for a little while. I know that it's partially because of the holidays and I don't have any of my loved ones around. Let's also think about the fact that people move to new spaces. Again, I get to raise my hand, and you feel isolated just because of that. Like, you may not necessarily have all the community that you're accustomed to, familiar with, around you. And so you
might just feel that part of it. So you got so many different reasons why people can experience holiday blues, not only death, but death definitely exacerbates it. And if we have any type of mental health diagnoses or have experienced mental health issues in the past, definitely also exacerbates how we might be feeling during the holidays. And so creating a safety plan, I would recommend or suggest that it is important. This is my tips and resources. It is important to find a safety plan. You can find them online. I think NAMI has them as a resource on potentially on their website. But if anyone needs one, I have plenty of resources as well. Collecting them on a daily basis. So it's just an opportunity for you to say, how do I recognize when I'm going into a low space that's more than just sadness, like that state of absolute depression? I can't get out of bed. I'm crying for a week. I am feeling suicidal. I have suicidal thoughts, suicidal ideation. Who do I call? Like having that plan already written out and having it somewhere that you can put your hands on. And I'm starting to feel like this. Oh, let me go and look at that sheet. What's on there? Oh, usually when I feel like this, I call Christina, because Christina she's a good listener. She gives good advice. She'll come and sit with me. She won't try to force me to do anything, but she is gentle and loving and compassionate and caring. So Christina's on my list. And then having maybe I need to call the doctor because maybe it's time maybe I'm already on meds and I haven't been taking them because I ran out of my prescription. Time to get more. Maybe I need to get on some meds because I haven't been taking anything at all. And it's time for me to have that. So I need to call the doctor. Maybe I need a therapy session to kind of talk through the things that's happening. So I'm just naming some different things that you could list on a safety plan and just thinking about, okay. Thank you, Lori. But just things that you can think about for creating that safety plan for yourself or for a loved one, because some of us are, again, connected to we're family members, we're friends, we're peers, and we have other loved ones that may also not necessarily recognize some of their triggers, but you've been around them long enough to monitor their behavior. And you can kind of talk to them before that particular season comes around and say, hey, I've noticed in the past, you generally, don't talk very much during this time. Is there something, maybe ask some questions, probe a little bit and see if there's something that you can do to support them. And then maybe recommend creating a safety plan if they've talked to you in the past about suicidal ideation. And then also going back to some of those resources, having that 988 on dial, you might want to call that, or being able to call the crisis prevention hotline and National Suicide Prevention Hotlines. So those are some things that I want to share. I hope this has been informative. I hope it's been helpful. I hope that the dialogue was good and that you gained some tips, not just from me, but from our colleagues, because although I'm the facilitator and I'm presenting, one of the things that I definitely know is that we learn together. And so that's the reason why I asked all the questions, because my perspective, my thoughts, and even the research that's out there may not necessarily align with where you are or what you've experienced or what you might be doing to get through the holiday blues. So it's good for us to hear other voices so that we can also learn from each other. Thank you very much.
So Stacy,
yes,
thank you so much for your presentation and collaboration. I'm so glad that I got to know you better. And I feel like I got to know you during this. And I also want to share that I don't usually listen to these kinds of presentations. I listened every minute. I got some stuff out of it. And I feel a little bit better. So Lori, I'm going to turn it over to you to share whatever you need to share.
Right. And thank you, Stacy. And I like that you wrapped it up with the safety plan, because a safety plan is a two-way street. It's something that we can provide other people with, and we can provide it for ourselves as well. I can have a list of who do I want to call me and maybe ask them to check in on me. And I can provide myself with a list of things that work for me too.
Absolutely.
So a lot of real great things. And talking about the Thanksgiving deliveries reminded me of reaching out to Trish with Family Involvement Center and getting names of some of the families that during COVID we did get meals out to. That it was quite a, it's a great time of year to be giving more than we receive as what Christina was saying. So I'd just like to remind you of upcoming events. For the month of December, we are not going to have a Mental Health Monday. We're going to take a Mental Health Monday break right between Christmas and New Year's. And then we'll start again with Mental Health Monday on January 29th. Our next NAPFC, Northern Arizona Peer and Family Coalition meeting is Wednesday, December 20th at 1 p.m. We're always the third Wednesday from 1 to 2:30. And I put the link in the chat for looking up the future NAMI events. And this is being recorded, and I think that the recording is usually out within 4 or 5 days and available through the NAMI website. Chaz, you have your hand up. Go ahead.
Can I share something?
Sure.
So in case no one saw the newsletter that came out last Friday, we have published the peer support FAQs on the Access website. So there's the link for you right there. Just kind of a shameless plug. Thank you so much for letting me share that.
Okay.
Thank you.
So I think it's 11:29 and I don't see any other hands up. So in the holiday spirit of giving, we'll give you a minute back today.
Bye-bye.
I appreciate you all. Thank you so very much for being here.